Happening now, first at noon, another Oahu playground goes up in flames, this time in town, and Honolulu police are asking for the public's help after ignitable liquids were detected by an HFD canine. It happened at around 8:45 this morning at the Sheridan Park playground. HPD says a member from the public alerted officers that the play equipment was burning. Firefighters responded and put the blaze out, but as you can see from the pictures, there is significant damage, estimated to be as much as $150,000. Police are asking anyone with surveillance video or information to please call 911. Now, back in May, vandals destroyed a newly renovated playground at the Wahiawa District Park. The community came together to rebuild the structure quickly so children would have a place to gather this summer. The arsonists in that incident were never caught. On Kauai, 2 people are without a home today after a house fire in Kapaa. Officials say 2 pets also passed away in the blaze. Firefighters were dispatched at around 12:30 this morning to the home on Ho'i Road. They extinguished the flames, which started on the first floor of the structure. No injuries were reported, and the damage estimate is around $353,000. The cause is under investigation. Also new at noon, the state is announcing a new partnership with Hawaiian Telecom that will provide 45,000 residents in public housing with reliable, high-speed internet service.
Ensuring that more of Hawaii's residents can fully take advantage in everyday life, what we are used to on a daily life, from attending online appointments and pursuing job opportunities, to streaming their favorite TV shows or streaming their favorite movies, or staying connected to your ohana and friends.
Hawaiian Telecom is also going to be providing, at no cost to the residents or the state, free internet access at the community hubs within these locations.
Hawaiian Telecom's $6 million in-kind contribution will help expand broadband access to 81 public housing properties across the state. Meanwhile, a warning from the FBI, which says airlines are being targeted by a cyber criminal group known as Scattered Spider. Hawaiian Airlines and Canada's WestJet were recently victims of a cyber attack. Federal officials say once the group is inside a network, they can steal sensitive data and will often deploy ransomware. Officials warn that everyone inside the airline system could be at risk. A couple of suspects remain on the run on Oahu, wanted in 2 separate attacks involving knives. At around 9 a.m. yesterday, Honolulu police responded to a stabbing in Kalihi. It took place in the area of Kamehameha, the 4th Road. That's where a 49-year-old woman was attacked by an unknown man. At last check, police have not released any suspect descriptions for the case. In Makiki, a man was seriously hurt Saturday night. EMS crews were called at around 11:30 to the scene on Kina'u Street near Keaumoku Street. There, they found a 34-year-old man who was cut numerous times. Officials tell us he needed advanced life support and was rushed to the hospital. Plans for a new tourist attraction on Oahu's North Shore brought protesters to the streets over the weekend. They were speaking out against a gondola on Mount Ka'ala. Some are against the plans because they consider the mountain to be sacred. There are also concerns the tramway would bring an influx of cars on Kaukonahua Road. Planners for the tourist attraction say they aim to draw 1,700 visitors a day.
This is the most dangerous road on Oahu. And putting a tourist attraction right here at this bend in the road on this steep, dangerous road is a bad idea.
We cannot handle that much traffic and that much in our community. We're already overrun as it is. But honestly, environmentally and culturally, it's just bad. It's just wrong.
Kaukonahua Ranch would operate the gondola and got approval for a conditional permit back in 2019. They say in response to community feedback, they have significantly reduced the scale of the project. One change is the ranch plans to build 1 zip line now instead of 2. A public meeting on the project is set for July 30th at 6:30 p.m. at Lelehua High School. Kilauea is quiet once again after erupting to life over the weekend. Episode 27 was explosive and the images were incredible. Casey Lund takes us to the Big Island.
Aloha from Halemaumau Crater. We're here at Volcano House, and look at this, a spectacular sight, a rainbow over the crater here. You know, the excitement of this past eruption event, episode 27, maybe over those large fountains, but what a gorgeous sight here, looking down at the caldera. Yesterday, this eruption started in the morning, and with the predictiveness that USGS has been able to go by, we kind of knew that by the early evening, late evening, things might be pow, and that's exactly what happened. The eruption event ended at around 8 p.m., but still quite a sight. We were here this morning talking with USGS about what's going on in this eruption series that started back in December.
Big picture is so underneath the surface here, we have actually several magma chambers, as we call it. So this is where magma comes up from the mantle very deep beneath the islands, beneath the ocean, and it stores in these reservoirs underground. And when the amount of magma accumulates in the reservoirs, gets to a certain point, it will erupt on the surface, and that's what we see as an eruption.
You know, with all that added excitement, of course, brings added people to Hawaii Volcanoes National Park. We talked with the National Park Service about some important reminders for folks that are coming to visit the caldera.
When you have an event like that, there can be thousands of people trying to enter the park all around the same time. So we bring all hands on deck to help with traffic and parking, and we ask that people are prepared for waiting for a little bit to come into the park. We're going to keep them moving until they can get to a larger area where they can park in a designated parking spot.
I was here 3 weeks ago with my son, and I experienced it took about an hour to get from Volcano Village into the parking spot that I ended up in. So I knew for this eruption visit, both going in and coming out, it would probably be a better idea to park along the highway.
We want people to be safe. So when they get out of their cars and walk to the edge, we want them to stay in the open areas of the park and just keep an eye on their family and their children.
Another big challenge and an added stress for those National Park Service employees is the construction that's happening at the entrance.
We're fortunate to be able to have these projects happening. It did all kind of come together at once with these major eruptive events and our construction. So we have some road improvements happening. We're putting in a roundabout just past the entrance of the park, and that is what people are encountering when they first enter now. So there are some detours.
I was pretty impressed with how they're managing it. I mean, we got in pretty quick. You know, I don't think we waited very long.
You know, we talked to folks visiting from all over the world, and right here in Hawaii, people that came from Oahu, from Maui to see it. Some lucked out. They got here in time. Others just barely missed it. But for those that were able to witness those 1,100 feet tall lava fountains, it was a moment that is just simply life-changing.
Really puts things in perspective for me.
Yeah, it's just inspiring. It's like
President Trump's biggest legislative priorities. President Trump's biggest legislative priorities. Named the One Big Beautiful Bill Act.
This, Mr. President, will make this country safer, stronger, and more prosperous.
The legislation includes increased spending for border security and defense and extends Trump's tax cuts from his first term. It also fulfills his 2024 campaign promise to remove taxes on tips and overtime pay. In a voting marathon session, Senate Democrats who do not support the bill proposed a series of changes.
Our amendments will give Republicans so many chances to defend Medicaid and SNAP and good-paying jobs and clean energy that if they say no, they'll regret it long after this debate is done.
The spending bill just needs a simple majority to pass, but with the Senate so closely divided, Republicans can only afford to lose 3 votes, and at least 2 Republicans have already said they oppose the measure.
We need the full weight of the Republican conference to get behind this bill, and we expect them to, and we are confident that they will.
The president has threatened to support primary challengers of Republicans voting against the bill. Sunday, North Carolina's Tom Tillis, who said he'll vote no, announced he will not seek re-election. The bill's final passage could come down to moderates like Susan Collins from Maine and Lisa Murkowski from Alaska. Murkowski supported several Democratic amendments Monday, but she has not yet announced how she plans to vote on the bill's passage. Erica Brown, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Aloha, on this Monday, there were no significant storm systems anywhere close. There are some high clouds coming up and over the state. The bigger thing is the winds will run light for the next several days. Now, we will have a few early morning showers for windward areas like this morning, but you can see there's not a lot of rain. And because the winds will run slow, we'll likely get some afternoon cloud buildups, and that cloud buildup could spawn a few showers late in the day into the early evening. And before that, we'll see a fair bit of sunshine, and it might be a little bit sticky, too.
Thank you, Guy. Authorities in northern Idaho are describing the killing of 2 firefighters responding to a blaze as a total ambush. Officials say a suspect is believed to have intentionally set a fire before shooting at firefighters who arrived on the scene. Andres Gutierrez reports from Coeur d'Alene.
They are reporting a brush fire going northeast.
What may have initially seemed like a routine call about a wildfire in a northern Idaho mountain community quickly turned violent.
Some law enforcement right now, there's an active shooter zone. Everybody's shot up here. Law enforcement, code 3 now up here.
Officials say a gunman began shooting at responding firefighters, killing 2 and seriously wounding another Sunday afternoon just outside of Coeur d'Alene.
Another Coeur d'Alene firefighter down, needs help immediately. We need law enforcement immediately. I'm pinned down behind Battalion 1's rig. It's clear to me that this fire was set intentionally to draw us in.
2 law enforcement sources tell CBS News authorities have identified the suspect as 20-year-old Wes Rowley. Authorities believe he set the fire on Canfield Mountain, luring firefighters to the scene and then opening fire in a siege that lasted several hours.
This was a total ambush. These firefighters did not have a chance.
The Kootenai County Sheriff said a shelter-in-place order was lifted after a tactical response team found the suspect's body in the area. The FBI used cell phone data to track him.
We believe, based on the information that we've been able to collect, that we believe that there was only one shooter.
While firefighters continued efforts to put out the blaze Monday, senators on Capitol Hill held a moment of silence in the shooting's aftermath. Sunday, residents lined the streets as the 2 firefighters' bodies arrived in nearby Spokane, Washington. Andres Gutierrez, CBS News, Coeur d'Alene, Idaho.
A father rescues his young daughter after she goes overboard from a Disney cruise ship. I'm Cristian Benavides with Witness Reaction.
Will tariffs dampen the spark this 4th of July? I'm Bradley Blackburn with when fireworks prices could skyrocket.
A Disney dream vacation turned into a terrifying experience after a young child fell overboard off a cruise ship into the ocean. Cristian Benavides is in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, with details on her incredible rescue.
Bless his heart. How did he survive that long?
Video taken aboard a Disney cruise ship shows the heart-stopping moment of a father and daughter rescued at sea. The man jumped in after the girl fell overboard. Witnesses say they had to tread water for up to 20 minutes.
What a dad. Oh my God, that's a dad that needs to have a hero. He's a hero.
He couldn't get to the life preservers because he was holding on to his daughter.
Laura Amador says the captain slowed the ship and turned it around as a small rescue boat raced out to the pair.
The ship was moving quickly, so quickly, it's crazy how quickly the people became little tiny dots in the sea and then you lost sight of them.
The incident happened yesterday as the Disney Dream returned to South Florida after a 4-night voyage to the Bahamas. Passengers credit crew members for reacting quickly and say they appeared highly trained and prepared for this exact situation.
And everyone was like cheering on the ship, and just the amazing quick response of Disney made a big difference.
In a statement, Disney said, "We commend our crew members for their exceptional skills and prompt actions, which ensured the safe return of both guests to the ship within minutes." It's unclear how the child fell overboard. The ship has plexiglass safety barriers on its decks. Cristian Benavides, CBS News, Fort Lauderdale.
Fireworks have been a part of America's birthday celebration since 1777. There's no domestic supply chain, and now the made-in-China pyrotechnics are subject to higher tariffs. Bradley Blackburn takes a look at how the import taxes could affect the annual patriotic spectacles.
Yahaira Casanova is stocking up to celebrate America's birthday with a bang.
We got Wicked, we got sparklers, we got Roman candles, which is more or less our favorite.
Business is booming at Phantom Fireworks in Matamoros, Pennsylvania, where shelves are stocked with more than 500 different kinds of fireworks, all of them with a Made in China label. According to the American Pyrotechnics Association, China produces 99% of consumer fireworks and 90% of professional displays as well.
Every year it seems like people want more and they want bigger.
Dan Peart is Director of Government Affairs for Phantom Fireworks. He says the company stopped production on orders from China when tariffs hit a whopping 145% in April. Now they're at 30%.
It hasn't impacted anything that we ordered, but we have reopened some of the products to start coming over again. Not everything, because frankly we don't need to.
Returning customer Eric Soares says he drops between $600 and $800 on his July 4th display.
I think the prices are about the same as last year, actually. And then even with the coupons, it makes it even better.
Customers might be spared the heat this year. Retailers usually order fireworks more than a year in advance. Then products made in the fall and winter are shipped well before Independence Day. Shoppers may notice a bump next year when the United States marks its 250th birthday. But the industry is lobbying for relief.
We are hopeful that fireworks will again be given an exclusion to the imports from China, same as they were in 2019.
Can you imagine the 4th of July without them?
No.
No.
It'd just be like a barbecue.
Customers here aren't curbing their spending, with the biggest single haul so far exceeding $10,000. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, Matamoros, Pennsylvania.
Let's take a live look outside now with our tower cam. Guy's going to have a look at what's in store for this week coming up in his full forecast.
First Alert Weather with Guy Hug.
Aloha on this Monday. We are 1 month into hurricane season, and we are still very quiet here in the Central Pacific, so that's good news, right? And we don't have any significant storm systems anywhere close. In fact, the winds are going to be lightening up and running slow for the next several days. Now, there's not a lot of rain out there. We will have these stray showers from time to time favoring windward sides. However, because the winds will run slow, there's a good chance for afternoon cloud buildups, and that cloud buildup could spawn a few spotty showers late in the day into the early evening. That's the weather pattern probably through Thursday. Stronger winds coming back on Friday. So we got rainbow alert mainly for those early morning hours because of a few showers out there. It's fairly dry through the afternoon, but late in the day into the early evening, we'll likely get that cloud buildup and maybe a few spotty showers. But again, those kinds of showers are never widespread, and they're fairly brief as well. Now, heads up, we got a building swell for south and west shores. Not a big swell. It will be below advisory levels, but you add the swell with the lighter winds and conditions will be very good for most south and southwest shores. East shores be a little choppy, but they will be dropping because the winds will be dropping off. The wave heights for east shores will be dropping off as well. So again, it's going to be fairly nice for the next several days. Granted, the winds will run slow through Thursday. So during this stretch, it's going to be a little bit sticky, and we'll get those afternoon cloud buildups and a few spotty showers, but chance for rain pretty slim. Chances for rain go up when the winds pick up starting on Friday for Independence Day. For the 4th of July, it's going to be a little bit breezy, and we'll likely see a few more windward and Mauka showers.
Thank you, Guy. Still to come, a bear cub that was abandoned by its mom finds a new home after being cared for by the San Diego Humane Society. We have that story coming up in today's Good News Now. Let's end the show with some good news. An adorable black bear cub is melting hearts in California. Danya Bacchus checks out the cub as he is being raised by caregivers.
Adorable black bear cub acts like a typical toddler at play, climbing, fighting, and making a splash. all under the care of his faux fuzzy foster family, humans dressed as bears.
Bear cubs are really smart. They're very impressionable. So we never really wanted him to see us in our human form.
We met up with Autumn Welch, one of his costumed caregivers at the San Diego Humane Society's Ramona Wildlife Center. The cub, believed to be abandoned by his mom, was brought to its medical ward in April.
When the bear cub first arrived, we were caring for him around the clock. We stayed all night long, fed him every few hours.
When interacting with the cub, staffers suit up in a bear-scented fur coat, leather gloves, and a mask. A giant stuffed teddy bear is a surrogate mama. Bonding with a human would jeopardize his return to the wild.
We go to all lengths to take care of this little guy.
if the costume wasn't enough, right? Like, you guys do everything.
We smell like bear, we sound like bear, we look like bear.
Caring for the cub that hasn't been named to avoid deeper attachment by caregivers costs about $200 a day. The Wildlife Center relies on donations for all its animals. The bear is thriving and growing more independent.
He's really good at entertaining himself. He plays, he explores, he climbs the trees, he plays with his stuffed animal. He's a happy, well-adjusted bear cub and still very wild.
Just days after our visit, a bittersweet bon voyage. The little guy found a new home, a wildlife center outside San Francisco with 2 bear cub buddies. It's hoped the cub will be released into the wild next spring and know how to survive. Thanks in part to the humans who took playing the role as Mama Bear quite literally. Danya Backus, CBS News, Ramona, California.
What a sweet face and what a fun job. Well, let's take one look live outside with our tower cam out towards Aloha Tower on this Aloha Monday. Everyone have a great week. Thanks for watching This Is Now. More news first at 4 right here on KHNL. Aloha.